this morning. Like I said earlier, our Sunday school lesson. As I was preparing for, a message and for Sunday school this morning, it was like God was orchestrating it. God definitely had His hand in it because, God laid this message on my heart this morning about adversity. And as I was preparing for that and studying for Sunday school this morning, it all kind of lined up together. It was all about adversity. And so He's definitely speaking to us this morning. He's trying to tell us something. That each one of us are going through something, going through things. Some of us are going through more things than others. And, we've all had our times of adversity, right? And if we haven't, that means they're coming. Because as we know, adversity is going to come. Trials are going to come. Testing is going to come. And so this morning I want to look at a story, a passage from Genesis 26. And I believe that it gives us a good lesson for today about adversity. It teaches us a good lesson. Isaac is given blessings from God. He's given a lot of land. He's given a place to live. He's truly blessed by God. But the devil comes in one night, sees how Isaac's being blessed, and so the devil decides that he's going to mess with Isaac. And he's going to use some other folks to do that, as we're about to see here in this lesson. He's going to start messing with Isaac through these other people. He's going to fill up all of his wells with dirt. And so Isaac knew that it wasn't just the people that were the enemy. He knew who his enemy was. He knew it was the devil. He knew the devil was messing with him. He knew it was the work of the devil. So he basically says this saying that I heard one time before. See, God has blessed me once. He can do it again and again and again. And He can. Isaac, like I said, as we're about to see here in a minute in this passage, he didn't sit around and pitch a fit. He didn't pout. He didn't just sit around and wait for things to get better. He picks up his shovel and continues digging. He picks up his shovel and he digs another well. And so I think there's an important lesson that we can learn from this passage today when going through adversity. Is that we keep working. We pick up our shovel and keep digging. And keep working. Keep working for God. And that's what Isaac did. Let's look at our Bibles. Let's open our Bibles this morning, look at our passage. It's Genesis chapter 26. Genesis chapter 26, and it's verses 12 through 33. And when you find that, will you please stand in the reverence and honor of reading God's Word, because it's definitely an honor to be able to read it. Genesis chapter 26, verses 12 through 33. It says, when Isaac planted his crops that year, he harvested 100 times more grain than he planted, for the Lord blessed him. He became a very rich man, and his wealth continued to grow. He acquired so many flocks of sheep and goats and herds of cattle and servants that the Philistines became jealous of him. So the Philistines filled up all of Isaac's wells with dirt. These were the wells that had been dug by the servants of his father Abraham. Finally, Abimelech ordered Isaac to leave the country. Go somewhere else, he said, for you have become too powerful for us. So Isaac moved away to Gerar, where he set their tents and settled down. He reopened the wells his father had dug, which the Philistines had filled in after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the names Abraham had given them. Isaac's servants also dug in the Gerar valley and discovered a well of fresh water. But then the shepherds from Gerar came and claimed the spring. This is our water, they said, and they argued over it with Isaac's herdmen. So Isaac named the well Esek, which means argument. Isaac's men then dug another well, but again there was a dispute over it. So Isaac named it Sitnah, which means hostility. Abandoning that one, Isaac moved on and dug another well. This time there was no dispute over it, so Isaac named the place Rehoboth, which means open space. For he said, "At last the Lord has created enough space for us to prosper in this land." From there, Isaac moved to Beersheba, where the Lord appeared to him on the night of his arrival. "I am the God of your father Abraham," he said. "Do not be afraid, for I am with you and will bless you. I will multiply your descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will do this because of my promise to Abraham, my servant." Then Isaac built an altar there and worshipped the Lord. He set up his camp at that place, and his servants dug another well. So one day King Abimelech came from Gerar with his advisor, husband, and also Phicol, his army commander. "Why have you come here?" Isaac said. "You obviously hate me since you kicked me off your land." And they replied, "We can plainly see that the Lord is with you. So we want to enter into a sworn treaty with you. Let's make a covenant, swear that you will not harm us, just as we have never troubled you. We have always treated you well, and we sent you away from us in peace. And now look how the Lord has blessed you." So Isaac prepared a covenant feast to celebrate this treaty, and they ate and drank together. Early the next morning, they each took a solemn oath not to interfere with each other. Then Isaac sent them home again, and they left him in peace. And that very day, Isaac's servants came, and they told him about a new well they had dug. "We found water," they exclaimed. So Isaac named the well Sheba, which means oak. And to this day, the town that grew up there is called Beersheba, which means well of the oak. Let's pray. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for this passage, this message that you have laid on my heart this morning, Lord, that speaks about adversity. Lord, you're trying to tell us something about adversity. The message laid on my heart, our Sunday school lesson, our dependence on you, staying faithful to you is key. As we're going through things, Lord, may we stay faithful. May we stay strong and depend on you. It's not about our strength. It's not about depending on ourselves. It's about being dependent upon you, Lord. Thank you for this passage this morning. Thank you for this message that you have laid out for me this morning. And Lord, may I do it justice how you laid it out to me. Lord, may I glorify and honor you. It's not about me. I'm just your messenger, Lord. I stand here so unworthy. So unworthy, Lord. It's like Elijah, Lord, my lips are unclean. Lord, what you want us to hear, what you want us to say may come through me this morning. Come out of your word this morning. I pray this in a wonderful and gracious holy name. Amen. So, as I thought about this text, as I thought about this passage, I thought about all the different ways that Christians and churches, how they get through adversity, how they go through things, and how different people, different churches respond to adversity, and how we succeed at adversity is how we respond to it. Depending on how we respond to it, that's how if we're going to be successful or not. Some, Christians and some churches respond to adversity successfully. By successfully, I mean remaining faithful, getting closer to God, closer to each other. Our faith is strengthened. We walk in God's promises. Walk and continue to walk with God as we go through adversity, as we continue to go through it and progress through it and grow through it, right? That's what we're supposed to do, right? And continue to grow closer to God. So, in other words, they kind of do like Isaac did. Like what we're supposed to do. Pick up our shovel and keep digging, keep working. And because of that, they pick up a shovel and keep working, keep digging. And that's what we're supposed to do. Keep working for God. Stay faithful. Stay strong. Don't quit. Not everybody does that, right? Not every Christian, not every church does that. A lot of churches, a lot of Christians go through adversity, and they develop this "woe is me" attitude, right? A lot of people do that. We get negative. Oh, woe is me. Instead of calling out to God, instead of staying faithful and strong, you have a tendency to give up and quit. That's how we're going to be successful, though. It all depends on how we respond to it. How we respond to adversity determines whether we're going to be successful or not. So with that in mind, I want to share 4 principles I believe are key for overcoming adversity. 4 principles this morning. Let's look at our first point. As Christians, we should expect adversity.
Amen.
As Christians, we should expect it. We're not promised an easy life, are we? I really and truly believe that this is essential for being successful. I truly believe that. Knowing that adversity is going to come. Just like it tells us in the book of James, it says, it doesn't say if trials and tribulations come. It says when they do. So, we know they're going to come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Right? Because we know they're coming. And this is key, that we should expect it. As Christians, we know there's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations, there's going to be tests. And it's going to be the norm for the Christian life. It's not going to be an easy life. And this doesn't mean that every single adversity is a result of the devil, something that he's doing. But it is a result of this fallen world that we live in. We do live in a fallen world, a sinful world. So a lot of the problems that we have is from living in this fallen world that we live in. But we should not, as Christians, yes, we should expect adversity, we should expect trials and tribulations, we should expect trouble, but we shouldn't ask for it. We shouldn't desire it, right? We want easy life. We want that. But we shouldn't ask for trouble. In Genesis chapter 26, we learn that, Isaac was a man of faith. He was a man of God. He learned that from his forefathers. And he did, he was faithful. He did what God, said by staying, in that land that was, had a famine. He stayed there despite that. And he was promised the blessings that were promised to Abraham. And we saw that in the passage. The same promises that God gave to Abraham, He gives to Isaac. He's passed along those same promises. And those same promises that were given to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and on and on and on, are still available to us today. Those same promises. The same promises of blessings. And we see some of those blessings being manifest in the provision of land, of crops. Because what does it tell us? That Isaac became a very rich man. So what does that tell us about God and about wealth? That God doesn't want us to be wealthy? We see that he does indeed bless Isaac through wealth, through land, through crops. He allows Isaac to become wealthy. Look at verses 12 through 14. It says, when Isaac planted his crops that year, he harvested 100 times more grain than he planted, for the Lord blessed him. He became a very rich man, and his wealth continued to grow. He acquired so many flocks of sheep and goats and herds of cattle and servants that the Philistines became jealous of him. So, Isaac's getting blessed, right? He's becoming wealthy. So that means he should have an easy life, right? Everything's good. Everything's going good. But despite the blessings of God, he still has adversity. And we see he has opposition. His wells, which represented the physical, tangible things of God's blessings, the visible signs of God's blessings, they get filled in with dirt. They're stopped up by the Philistines. Look at verses 15 and 16. It says, so the Philistines filled up all of Isaac's wells with dirt. These were the wells that had been dug by the servants of his father Abraham. And finally, Abimelech ordered Isaac to leave the country. Go somewhere else. You become too powerful for us. So he's forced to leave that land by Abimelech. Here he is with all his wealth, all this land, all the sheep, cattle, goats. He's forced to leave. So what does that teach us? What does that show us? That if we're wealthy, we're not going to have any trouble? No. Even when God blesses us, we're still going to have those times of adversity. And that doesn't mean that God's blessings stop, do they? That God doesn't like us anymore. It doesn't mean that, does it? God still loves us. Always does, always will.
Amen. Amen.
Always will. Sometimes we go through things. Sometimes we have to. Sometimes we do ask for trouble. We bring it on ourselves, don't we? By some of the decisions that we make. And some of the things that happen to us are a consequence of those decisions that we make. Sometimes, like Job, we're minding our own business, going through life, and this devil decides, just like he did with Isaac, just like he did with Job, start messing with us. Because he sees us as a threat. And guess what? The devil sees this church as a threat. How awesome is that? No, we don't want to ask for trouble. But we see God's hand at work in this church. We see good things happening. So what? The devil starts messing with it, with his plan. So we become a target in our Christian life. We become a target for Satan. Directly or indirectly. He'll oppose us, cause trouble through various means, through other people, through financial adversity, through health, family struggles. Because this is true, none of us should be surprised by adversity. We should come to expect it. We should come to expect it. Like I said, be encouraged by it. Because it means that, hey, we're doing the right things. We're doing the right things here. Doing good things here. God's hands at work on this church, the community around us. The devil don't like it. What are we told? Jesus tells us, in this world that you will have trouble, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. That's what Jesus tells us. Apostle Paul said, we must go through many hardships to enter the kingdom of God. And the Apostle Peter said, dear friends, do not be surprised at the painful trial you are suffering, as though something strange were happening to you. James tells us, like I said, consider it all joy. Consider it pure joy when trials and tribulations, when you face those of many kinds. Consider it all joy. Be encouraged. Be faithful. Be strong. Don't quit. It's like our Sunday school lesson talked about this morning. Every believer, no matter how strong, no matter how faithful, is going to go through adversity. Every single one of us. So we should expect it. What's the second point? Look, point number 2. As Christians, we should expect to persevere during adversity. We should expect to get through it, to persevere. Look at verses 17 to 22 again. It says, so Isaac moved away to the Gerar Valley, where he set up their tents and settled down. He reopened the wells his father had dug, which the Philistines had filled in after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the names Abraham had given them. So Isaac's servants also dug in the Gerar Valley and discovered a well of fresh water. But then the shepherds from Gerar came and claimed the spring. This is our water, they said, and they argued over it with Isaac's herdsmen. So Isaac named the well Esek, which means argument. Isaac's men then dug another well, but again there was a dispute over it. So Isaac named it Sitnah, which means hostility. So Isaac's continuing to face adversity and opposition, despite the blessings. Every step forward he makes is 2 steps backwards. And if we think about the land that is over there. Especially in ancient times, in those days, it was probably real hard to find water. I'm sure it's probably not that much easier today, but we got a little bit more technology than they did back then. But it was real hard finding water. It wasn't an easy thing. And they probably had real primitive tools. They weren't digging through the easiest terrain. They weren't digging through the easiest, dirt. There was probably a lot of rock. So wells are hard to dig through. And finding the water was difficult. But despite the difficulties, we see that Isaac didn't throw down the shovel and quit. He didn't just throw down the shovel and quit and say, I'm tired of all this. He persevered. He hung in there. He didn't quit. If we want to be successful on the other end of adversity, we've got to keep digging. We've got to keep working. And know that, one, adversity has come because we're in the middle of it, right? We're going through things, right? We've got to keep working. Got to stay faithful. Got to stay strong. Got to stay positive. And know that we are going to persevere. We're going to get through it. Isaac doesn't go down the shovel and quit. Say, man, life is so unfair. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of this. I want to do something else. He doesn't quit. He stays strong. He stays focused on God. And you see that he didn't just keep looking back at the past, saying, oh man, wish I could go back and wish it would kind of be like the good old days when I had, all these wells and I had, all this land and I was doing so good and I was prospering. No, he keeps digging, picking up his shovel and digging, knowing that as long as he stays faithful to God, God's going to bless him again and again and again. God's never going to stop blessing us. If he blesses us once, he can do it again and again and again. We stay faithful, stay strong. Point number 3. Like I said, as Christians, we should expect that God's still going to bless us despite adversity. God's still going to bless us despite adversity. We should expect to persevere and be successful over adversity. We know that it's going to come. But we're not going to persevere and we're not going to be successful depending on our own strength, our own power, right? It's not dependent on us. It's dependent on God. It's staying faithful to him. It wasn't about Isaac. It wasn't about his servants going out there digging. It was about depending on God, staying faithful to God. As believers, we don't persevere because we're depending on us to do the good things. We're depending on God to bless us, to give us the good things from his hand. And that's what happens, right? Because the good things don't come from our hands, it comes from his hand. Because we believe in and lean on the power and strength of God. That's how we're going to be successful. That's where we endure, because we believe in the power of God and know that he is going to bless us. The blessings that we receive through adversity, because we're going to get them through adversity. We're still going to be blessed. He doesn't take his hand off of us. He doesn't say, okay, I don't love you anymore. I'm going to take my arms away from you. No, we're still wrapped in his arms. He's carrying us through. God blesses us again and again and again, even while we're going through adversity. And this is what we see in this example of Isaac. They didn't give up. Look at verse 22. It says, abandoning that one, Isaac moved on and dug another well. This time there was no dispute over it, so Isaac named the place Rehoboth, which means open space. For he said, the last Lord has created enough space for us to prosper in his land. So here we see they kept digging, kept working. And like I said, water wasn't that easy to find. It wasn't that easy to dig through all that rock, all that hard, that hard land over there. It wasn't easy. He didn't give up, though. He didn't give up. He kept working, kept digging, kept getting through it. And here we see Abimelech, who was the king of the Philistines, admits that Isaac is blessed. He says, we can plainly see that the Lord is with you. If we're going to overcome adversity, it's going to come from when we admit that God is still going to bless us through adversity. Despite adversity, God's still good to us. God's still good to us. Blessings are still going to come. There's going to be those hard days, those hard times when we're struggling through things. But God is still going to bless us. Amen. He's still going to look out for us. And we need to be able to see that God blessed me once, and he can do it again and again and again. We should expect adversity. We should expect to persevere. And we should expect God's blessings despite adversity. Now look at point number 4. As Christians, we should recognize that good will eventually come. The good will eventually come from adversity. All things work for good, right? For those that love God. We were called according to his purpose, right? All things work for good.
Amen.
It doesn't, mean that some things will work for good. This thing will work for good, but this one won't. This is all things work for good for those that love God and stay faithful, stay strong, stay committed, and stay working. Picking up our shovel, keep digging, keep working, stay focused. Because, like I said, good things are happening. Good things are happening in this church, right? You just got to keep working, keep digging, because good things are happening. The devil don't like it. He don't like it. Look at verses 23 to 32. It says, from there Isaac moved to Beersheba, where the Lord appeared to him on the night of his arrival. I am the God of your father Abraham, he said. Do not be afraid, for I am with you and will bless you. He didn't say maybe, does he? I might bless you. Maybe I will. He says, I know you're having a hard time. No, I'm not going to bless you. No, he doesn't say, he says, I will bless you. I promise you that. I promise you I will bless you. Guess what? He's telling us the same thing today. We can still stand on those promises. I will bless you. You might be going through things. You might be going through adversity. In our lives, in the life of this church, we might be going through some things. But I will bless you. He says, I will bless you. I will multiply your descendants, and they will become a great nation. I will do this because of my promise to Abraham, my servant. We can still stand on those promises today. Then Isaac built an altar there to worship the Lord. He set up his camp at that place, and his servants dug another well. One day, King Abimelech came from Gerar with his advisor, Huzzath, and also Phicol, his army commander. Army commander named Phicol. Why have you come here? Isaac said. You obviously hate me, since you kicked me off your land. And they replied, we can plainly see that the Lord is with you. So we want to enter into a sworn treaty with you. Let's make a covenant. Swear that you will not harm us, just as we have never troubled you. We have always treated you well, and we sent you away from us in peace. And now, look how the Lord has blessed you. See, they had to admit that the Lord was blessing him. They admitted that. So Isaac prepared a covenant feast to celebrate the treaty, and they ate and drank together. Early the next morning, they took a solemn oath not to interfere with each other. Then Isaac sent them home again, and they left in peace. And that very day, that very same day, Isaac's servants came and told him about a new well they had dug. We found water. We found water. They exclaimed. So Isaac named the well Sheba, which means oath. And to this day, the town that grew up there is called Beersheba, which means well of the oath. They found water. Guess what? If we keep digging, if we keep working, we'll find water. Our troubles, our adversity can turn into blessings if we stay faithful, stay strong, stay committed, and keep working, keep digging. Pick up our shovel and keep digging. Think about this. Think about Isaac here in this passage. It says that, if you'll notice, he went up to Beersheba in verse 23. It says, why is that significant? Beersheba was in the promised land. Gerar was not. So throughout his blessings, because of God's hand, taking him through adversity, what happens? He got closer to God, didn't he? Brought him closer to God. So the promised land represented that place of God's special promise. And his hand at work in Isaac's life. And he moved closer to God because of that adversity. And it's no coincidence that Isaac built an altar there to worship the Lord. Because the Lord had met him in a special way, didn't he? And taken care of him. Blessed him throughout his adversity. And brought him closer to him. Second thing I want us to notice that resulted from this adversity is that others could see the hand of blessings, God's blessings upon Isaac. Throughout his adversity, the things he was going through, others had to admit, the Lord's with you. We've tried messing with you. God's still blessing you. Guess what? He can see that today. And he says that about us today. They had to admit that there was something special going on in Isaac's life. They had come to the point where they had said, God must be with you. And when people look at us and look at our church today, they can say that about us today. That God must be with you because, like I said, the devil feels threatened enough to mess with us. We're important enough. I'm about to speak just a little country church out here in the Handy community. The devil thinks we're important enough to mess with. So others have to admit God's with us. Isaac, might have been a man who suffered setbacks, who went through adversity, who suffered opposition. God still blessed him. He still persevered because he picked up his shovel. He kept digging. He kept working. The same can be true of us. We can be successful through adversity, the things that we're going through in our lives. We can be successful. We've got to stay focused on God. Stay focused on Him. Keep digging. Pick up our shovels. Just keep digging, keep working. Because good things are happening. We stand with you as we pray.